change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more?
Drivers will look to conquer the track too tough to tame here this evening in race number 12 of Season 5 in the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Darlington Raceway as it appears for the 5th straight season on the Duracell Cup Series schedule. A track that has been anything but predictable in the past, and we're expecting nothing less here tonight as 29 drivers, the Tri-Terry drivers, will get ready for what's going to be their 4th start of the season. Getting ready for 74 laps of racing here tonight, a little bit longer than we've had in the past. That might come into play, especially with how we know this particular track with its worn out surface can be really tough on the tires. Could play into strategy if we get into a long green flag run, but of course as well, everybody usually goes home with a souvenir, that being the famed Darlington stripe, so we may see a caution or two intermingled, and not necessarily here in the last couple of weeks, but in the early portions of the season, we saw that caution seemed to fall at very inopportune times and really mix things up as far as strategy. We'll have to see if that's going to be the case here tonight or not. Let's take a look at our point standings here, as I'm showing currently the wrong one. Let's show the first page of the point standings coming into this race. Not a whole lot changed inside the top 10 in the point stands, especially with the fact that we had a driver that was down 28th in the point stands, Sean Arndt, out of the 3rd Evans Gardner Motorsports stable ride last week at Texas Go to Victory Lane. A lot of people kind of really scratching their heads about that one, of how this team all of a sudden, immediately once it was formed, how that team with Sean Arndt and Zachary Taylor, as well as Cody Smart, how they've been able to just kind of catch fire, and they've been up there at the front week after week. Well, now they are currently sitting in a playoff position. Really, the only movement that took place in the top 10 in the points, though, was the 8 car out of Haas Racing jumped back up to the top of the standings. The 11 team out of TCW Racing, they jumped up a couple spots. And the 47 team out of Lake Effect Autosport, they actually dropped about 4 spots in the standings. That's pretty much all that took place as far as the shuffling of points, but you'll notice that the points are much, much closer as well. Only 40 points separation from the 8 team back to the 6 teams. So keep an eye on that during the course of this evening's race as we look at the second page, and you'll notice that not nearly as many race winners here, and on the second page, as a lot of them made their way up into the top 10 in the last couple of weeks. Keep your eyes on the 55 team out of Gunther Motorsports. Mike Tellier is starting on the pole position here tonight, so obviously that team looking to bounce back after what's been a struggling last couple of weeks. And then last but not least, you see 4 of the race-winning teams down here below the top 20, the 74, the 77, the 48, and then, of course, the 95. But notice how the 95, who didn't even start the season at Daytona, they're only sitting 15 points behind their next team car, the 12 team at Evans Gardner Motorsports. That team, if they keep up the consistency, not only do they have the win in the bank, I think they're going to climb out of 28th in the points, and they may be able to work their way up in a couple of weeks' time, even up inside the top 20 in the points. And they've done a really good job in the starts that they have made. But we're going to get to the starting lineup and talk about some of the storylines coming into this evening in just a moment. It's time to go down for pre-race ceremonies and begin with tonight's singing of the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting Oh yeah, the lady in black ready to make her mark both figuratively and literally on this evening's festivities as the pace car peels off. And here's your starting lineup for this evening's race. Mike Tellier holds the pole position alongside of Carson Grob. Jackie Halleck will roll off third with James Shelley in fourth. Pierce Crone completes top five. Andrew Gonzalez in sixth. Row 4 finds Jacob Thibodeau and Roberto Crown Jr. Allison Rodrigo and Alexander Rowe complete the top 10. Ryan Acosta, the former champion, and Caleb Fogler. They're going to be in row 6, row 7, with Keith Batson and last time out's winner, Alex Tanker. Harrison Ponder and Will Goss, they're in row 8, row 9, Colin Cropley and Zachary Taylor. Riley Henry, Mitchell Collins, they're back completing the top 20. Jordan Lopez and Andrew Davis, they are 21st and 22nd. Matthew Rodriguez and Cole Deaver, the defending winner of this race, they're back in row 12. Row 13 finds Benjamin Miles and Daniel Voyles, Adam Garcia and Michael Norman back in row 14, and starting shotgun, making his second Duracell Cup Series start of his career, Reggie Fogelman. Pace car has hit pit road. It's time to get racing here. Only 2 more stops till All-Star Race break. Couple of Chevrolets going to lead us down, and we are underway at the Darlington Raceway. Let's roll! Inside line prevails early. We'll see that outside line actually be a preferred line over in 3 and 4 as these tires start to wear down and the tire heat begins to pick up. Jackie Halleck's going to move into the second spot. Pierce Crone looking to move into the podium, and he will do so as Tellier under fire will come around and he will lead the first lap of this race. Chevy, Toyota. Then a couple more Chevrolets as, look at this. A move for third turned into a move for second. Pierce Crone throwing the block on Carson Grob and goes to the inside of Jackie Halleck. Looking to move back into the runner-up position. The 8 team right now, top of the point standings, winning at Daytona, just trying to continue to build a cushion in the point standings. Only 3 points in hand over the 19 team out of Pigeon Racing, which with Matthew Rodriguez did not have a good qualifying effort here tonight. So they've got the advantage in terms of track position in the early going. Big opportunity here tonight for us to see a first-time winner in the fact that in the last 4 visits to Darlington Raceway, 3 of those races, the eventual winner of the race got their first career Duracell Cup Series victory back in Season 1 with Benny Watson, Season 3 with Jack Mitchell, and of course last season, as we mentioned, the defending winner of this race, Cole Deaver, who is in the field here tonight. That would be one of many wins that Cole Deaver had last year. So a lot of drivers tonight looking for their first win of their career. The other former winner of this race, it wasn't his first career win at the time, was Dylan Young. And that was back in Season 2. But Adam Garcia is the driver in the 2 car here this evening. As Carson Grob determined to get the race lead away from Mike Tellier and might complete the pass here through 3 and 4. Is going to at least lead this lap, and I think Carson Grob has got it. He's also got a teammate behind him in Jackie Halleck, so Evans Gardner Motorsports looking for back-to-back victories here. As right now they are 1-2 with Pierce Crone moving into third. Mike Tellier under fire for fourth. That's Ryan Acosta looking to the inside. Ryan Acosta picking up the victory back at Bristol. That was the second to last time that these Tri-Terry drivers were out and on a racetrack. Subsequently, the 32 team has a win and is 12th in the point standings, currently holding on to a playoff spot as the battle is on for second. And give it to Pierce Crone. Kat Batson now going to move up into the 5th position, and she's looking for more. Seeing a number of teams right at this moment up here inside of the top 10 that really need good runs here tonight. The 39 team is no exception, 24th in points. The 12 team up there with Jackie Halleck comes into this race 27th in the standings. That is the furthest back of the drivers and the teams that started the season off at Daytona, as Will Goss, following in the tire tracks of Jacob Thibodeau, will move up to 6th, and we have a battle for the lead. Pierce Crone to the inside of Carson Grob. Not quite going to be able to get the power down there on the inside of turn 4, so Grob will hold on to the top position for the moment. Jackie Halleck now to the inside for third on Ryan Acosta. Will Goss moving up now to the 4th spot, and he's bringing Colin Cropley along with him. Mentioned that Jack Mitchell got his first career win here back in Season 3. That is the car, the 0-1, that he parked in victory lane. So Colin Cropley trying to be the first team in Adrenaline Motorsports to have multiple victories here at Darlington. Benny Watson, when he won, it was for Otter Island Motorsports. Dylan Young, of course, for Young Motorsports. Jack Mitchell for Adrenaline Motorsports, and Cole Deaver for S3 Motorsports. Here's the 48 of Harrison Ponder, now moving into, I believe that would have been the 8th position. We'll check that as he crosses the line. Actually, that's the 7th position for him. 48 team right now next to last of the former winning teams. Right now 25th in the point standing, second only to the 95 team out of Evans Gardner Motorsports that won last week. So good run for them here tonight, trying to follow up the victory that Austin LaPlante got in that car back at the Springfield Mile. Looks like the top 3, 4, 5 have gotten themselves all single filed. And I was mentioning about Matthew Rodriguez not having good starting track position. Started this race all the way back in the 23rd spot, and he's now just cracked the top 10. So that 19 car is pretty fast. Just ahead of him, Riley Henry in the 99 started 19th, and he's up 10 spots to the 9th position. So good job by a couple of those guys that did not have the good starting track position early on. They've been able to cut their way through the field pretty quickly, and now up in some top 10 spots. 78 out of Alexander Rowe out of Auto Junction Racing. 78 team is, well, they haven't struggled, but it's not exactly been the best last couple of weeks for them. We've already well documented when Ryan Butcher from the race lead had some contact with his teammate Patrick Smith back at Nashville. And not the best of performances last week either for Diego Yepes at Texas. That team has now fallen down in the point standings and looking to mount a bit of a comeback here tonight. Ryan Acosta to the inside of Cat Batson. That's going to be for 7th. Correction, that was actually a battle for... Yeah, that was for 7th. My apologies. 6th place changed hands just before that, with Harrison Ponder getting by the 39. And we may have a battle for 2nd before we have a battle for the race lead. Pierce Crone has not been able to, well, as soon as I say that, he peeks the nose. But he hasn't really been able to mount a charge on Carson Grob, and he's got Will Goss, Colin Cropley, and Jackie Halleck right there with him. Another driver that's starting to work his way up through the field, I just noticed, was the 09, Caleb Vogler. Now, Cole Deaver winning last year for S3 Motorsports. S3 Motorsports with 2 entries in the field here tonight, including the aforementioned Deaver. But Caleb Vogler would like to make it back-to-back seasons that S3 Motorsports wins here at the track Too Tough to Tame. And there's Adam Garcia. Mentioned the 2 car with Dylan Young winning here back in Season 2. Garcia looking for his 4th career win and first of the season. He's up to the 14th spot after starting this race from 27th, so good run for him. Andrew Davis, the 93. He started back in 22nd, the 93 team, after William Micros parked it in victory lane back in the 2nd race of the season at Manassas. They've just kind of been hovering inside of the top 15 to top 20. Well, this seems like all of a sudden they are turning a corner. And they are climbing in the point standings, 13th in points coming to this one. Just ahead, Allison Rodrigo in the 21, running in 12th position. A 21 team, No Limits Racing, started out the season so well. They were up inside the top 10, I think it was for the first 2 weeks. And right now, they come into this race 21st in the points. So, a couple of teams here looking really, really good in the early going. But that could all change as we had a lead change. Just saw there, Carson Grob has dropped back to the 4th position. Pierce Crone now moves to the top spot. He will be the 3rd different leader of this race. Mike Tellier led the first 4 laps. Carson Grob took over for 12 laps, and now Pierce Crone has his Speed Raceway Toyota out in front as teammates will battle for third. Grob to the inside of Halleck. And not quite going to get the job done that time is Carson Grau on the inside off of turn 4. We're going to ride on board here with the 48 of Harrison Ponder. Next time they come around, I want you to listen to how these drivers have to approach this racetrack. This is not your cookie cutter type racetrack where it's the same on one side of the racetrack as it is on the other. This is a very difficult racetrack as 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are entirely different. Take a listen to the throttle input. If you take a look at Darlington from an aerial view, it is an egg shape. Turns 1 and 2 much wider than it is over in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 much more narrow, much more of a harder left-hand turn. And that's why you heard Harrison Ponder have to back out of the throttle as he headed into turn number 3. And that's usually why you see a lot of your passes be made over here in the last 2 corners as well, because it's really all about throttle control. There you saw Carson Grubb use the opportunity there going into turn 3 to make the move on Colin Cropley for second, and he will complete the pass. Cropley losing a ton of momentum, and that brings Jackie Halleck into a battle now for third place. Will Goss made a big move there on the 48 of Harrison Ponder, and that's starting to say to me that these tires are beginning to definitely go away. Drivers not finding nearly the grip on the top side as they did early on over in 1 and 2, and Harrison Ponder nearly got himself that famed Darlington stripe as he was awfully wide off of 3 and 4. I don't think he brushed it, but he got awfully close. And he continues to free fall now on that outside line. So the grip that was there to make moves on the top side early on, it's not there anymore. Battle for the lead is on. Carson Grob showed the nose, not going to be able to get to the inside. Pierce Crone will continue to show the way. Now, one thing that I do not remember from last season's race was what the fuel window is for these guys. We've had a couple of races here at Darlington where we've seen long green flag runs and green flag pit stops. I believe that the first race we had here back in Season 1 fell into that category, and I believe Season 3 we had long green flag runs as well. But I don't remember what the fuel window was. It'll be interesting to see if these drivers have to pit before the halfway point, which would be about lap 37. If they do have to pit before then, that means that this would be a 2-stop race. And this is not one of the easiest pit roads to get onto either. We had a battle that was brewing for 10th place, or for 9th place rather, between Kat Batts and Allison Rodrigo. That has since dissipated, and I've also noticed that our defending winner, Cole Deaver, while he may be back in 18th, he is almost up here into that lead group. So keep an eye out for him. He's done it before. He could certainly do it again. Former winner from this season, Roberto Crown Jr., is also working his way up towards the front. 15th place last time by. He's bringing Benjamin Miles along with him in the 15 car. Boy, talk about a team that really needs some luck here tonight. Benjamin Miles would be one of those guys. I mean, that 15 team out of Legend Racing currently sitting 26th in the point standings. Matthew Rodriguez has moved his way now up to 6th. He's closing in on Will Goss. And that is not something that Pierce Crone wants to hear because, as mentioned, that team, or both those teams, have really been the last couple of weeks duking it out for the points lead. Both teams have gone to victory lane with Matt Haas at Daytona and Carson Gum a couple of weeks ago at Nashville. Now they're trying to get the bonus points for winning the regular season championship, and of course as well would love to put their cars in victory lane a time or two more, rack up bonus points in that regard, and ensure themselves spots in the playoffs as Colin Cropley catches out Carson Grob, and he will now move back into the second position. Jackie Halleck, Will Goss there to take advantage, as well as the 65 going to get freight trained here into 3 and 4. Matthew Rodriguez trying to get up there as well. If he can get to the inside of the 65 off of 4, he might be able to move into 5th place, but Grob's not going away quietly. He'll jump up to the outside of Will Goss. Not quite clear. Will Goss back to the inside, and now Carson Grob's not going to have to give up 1 spot, but 2 spots, as Rodriguez will get on by. Seven laps away from halfway. We'll see if anybody can make it that far. If they can make it to lap 37, then I believe they can make it the rest of the way. But we also have to remember, too, that when we started this race, everybody was bunched up. It was a long single-file train from 1st back to 20th, and so a lot of drivers had the benefit of the draft. And when you run in the draft, you can actually save a little bit of fuel. The field's going to get very spread out when we end up having our pit stops, which we might have already had because there's the 6 of Jacob Thibodeau ahead of the race leaders, and unless he made an unscheduled pit stop, that might have actually been strategy to try and get some fresh tires, and we may end up seeing more drivers dive onto pit lane very soon. Right now, Jacob Thibodeau is scored, last car running in the 29th position, and he is 1 lap down, about to go a 2nd lap down if Pierce Krone and Jackie Hallett can get to him, but nope, apparently it was a regularly scheduled stop because the race leader is coming down pit lane this time. And I believe, at least he's going to be the only driver inside of the top 15 that's going to come down pit road. That could be one of the disadvantages of leading this race, to be honest. Much like at a super speedway, you create the draft, you use up the most fuel in doing so. Let's see how long these guys can stay out, or do they now jump to pit road this next lap? Jackie Halleck, you got to have the hand out the window for communication, and he does. Colin Cropley's going to come down with him. Matthew Rodriguez. Allison Rodrigo and Andrew Davis back there as well. That turns the race lead over to Will Goss in the 11 car. Will Goss in his number 11 DoorDash Toyota Camry. Cole Baker putting that car in victory lane back at Atlanta. Goss is looking for his first career win. He'll stay out another lap as Carson Grob from 2nd place will peel onto pit lane. He's going to bring Alexander Rowe, Ryan Acosta, Cat Batson, Benjamin Miles. Looked like that was Roberto Crown Jr. coming down with him. So interesting strategy on the part of the 11. Obviously, he was saving quite a bit of fuel there under that run, and might come down a less congested pit road also. He's also going to be very close there to that number that we were talking about, lap 37, the halfway point. He'll come to pit lane this time, though. Wow, okay, so looks like we're going to have these drivers, what, 2 to 3 laps short of making it the scheduled distance? Oh, boy. If we stay green, Darlington could turn into a fuel strategy race. Pierce Krone going around Colin Cropley, and so it looks like the 8 may cycle around as the race leader once again. We'll have to see where Carson Grob cycles around in the 65 as he's just now leaving pit lane. But I believe Pierce Krone should get the race lead back when all is said and done. There was Rowe in the 78. Where's the 65? Where is the 65? Oh, there he is, just now leaving pit road, and he's going to cycle around, what, maybe 4th or 5th? And he'll be under fire from Allison Rodrigo. So it looks like the strategy of coming down pit road early and getting the fresh tires certainly working out for a couple of people. As Krone's going to be the leader, Cropley will be 2nd, Matthew Rodriguez 3rd. It'll be interesting to watch these two. How important is the draft in terms of speed? Could these two be nose to tail and catch up to the race leader, Pierce Krone? We'll follow up on that in a while, as we're just going to wait for the ticker to actually update itself and see what the interval is between 1st and 2nd. And it's 1.07, so keep an eye on that as we'll go further through and see who else cycled out where. Alexander Rowe will be 4th, Allison Rodrigo in 5th, Carson Grob's now back to 6th, Benjamin Miles 7th, 8th Will Goss, 9th Andrew Davis, Jackie Halleck will be 10th, Jacob Thibodeau 11th, 12th Ryan Acosta, 13th Cat Batson, Reggie Fogelman up to 14th after starting last. Nice job by him. Metro Collins 15th, 16th Riley Henry, 17th Adam Garcia, 18th Caleb Vogler, Harrison Ponder in 19th. 20th will be James Shelley, 21st Daniel Voiles, Cole Deaver back to 22nd, 23rd, Michael Norman. Haven't heard a lot out of him here tonight. 24th under contest as Andrew Gonzalez going to take it, dropping Roberto Crown Jr. back to 25th. 26th, Jordan Lopez. Last time out's winner, Alex Tanker. I don't think we've mentioned him outside of the starting lineup this evening. 27 car runs in 27th. 28th, Mike Tellier. And 29th, last week's winning car, Zachary Taylor. And that is the field. All 29 drivers on the lead lap at this point in time. And that answers the question. The two cars working together, able to catch the one cars. So Pierce Crone, Colin Cropley, Matthew Rodriguez for the time being to settle it out. Now for Pierce Crone and Colin Cropley, it's obviously no secret. Both of those drivers made their debuts back at Las Vegas here in the Duracell Cup Series. They're looking for their first career wins. For Matthew Rodriguez, he's looking for his second career win. His first career win all the way back in Season 1 at Arizona Speedway. It's been a long winless streak for him. Aligning himself this year at Pigeon Racing with the defending champion Carson Gum, as well as multi-time winner Charles Belding. And Rodriguez has looked pretty good in the races that he has taken part. As a matter of fact, he was a driver that we thought could very well end up taking the checkered flag back at, which race was it? Was it Vegas? Might have been Vegas. It was a track he was running up towards the front for a long period of time. Actually, it might have been last year that I'm thinking of. Might have been a race from last year. Now, I mentioned the fact that this is the next to last race of the first half of the regular season. Next week, we're going to have our second road course stop of the season. First time that the Daytona road course appears on the Duracell Cup Series schedule. So be sure to tune into that one. That should be a lot of fun. And then these drivers get themselves ready for All-Star Race Weekend. A number of them going to be taking part in the All-Star Open. And then, of course, those that have won this season and the second half of last year's regular season, as well as the playoffs, they will be in the All-Star race. Top three have gotten themselves single file, and that might be by design, with them racing for fourth place on back. Those top three could continue to pull away and maybe have it be a battle between themselves in the closing stages. Will Goss, Allison Rodrigo for fourth. Give the spot to Will. And now here comes the inside line contingency led by Jackie Halleck, Alexander Rowe there, Benjamin Miles, as Rodrigo and Davis right now stuck on the top side. And that interval is continuing to grow, over 4.5 seconds from the top three back to fourth place position. And that time by, they gained another 0.3. Been very impressed with this 11 team, though. Remember, a big talking point was how they were down in the cellar of the point stands in the early going of the year. And now they had that victory with Cole Baker, and since then, Baker, along with Will Goss and Tristan Allen, have fought and clawed their way up to the 7th position in points. So well done by them. That's why you do not give up. You keep yourself in the fight week after week, and it's got to be so difficult when you have this type of a system with a different driver climbing into the car every single week. There's no opportunity to be able to get some consistency. The drivers obviously have to have a feeling of trying to relearn everything when they climb into the car because they've been on a 2-week vacation. And so when you look at drivers that maybe even haven't necessarily won this year, but are up there in the point standings, inside the top 10 in the point standings, you can't help but be impressed with how they've been able to overcome that hurdle. It's a very unique system, the Duracell Cup Series this season, but a lot of teams have really risen to the occasion, and that just kind of goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the event here tonight, when you consider that the 95 team was a team that was formed actually during one of the races. I think it was formed during either Manassas or Las Vegas while the broadcast was going on. Cody Smart signed on, Sean Arndt signed on, Zachary Taylor signed on. The sponsorships got announced during the broadcast. They showed up the following week, And since then, they have accumulated really good performances. And of course, as we've documented as well, a victory now, courtesy of Sean Arndt last week at Texas. So, again, you just cannot help but be impressed when teams are able to do something like that. And you could go back to the 44 team. We saw Reggie Fogelman back there, just outside of the top 10. Started this race from dead last. He's done a great job along with Daniel Silla and Chris Washer in their limited starts. You just get the feeling they may not be too far away from finding victory lane as well. Well, right now, everybody's gotten themselves all single filed, whether it's the top 3 or 4th place on back. And I'll tell you why they're doing that, because now these guys are riding it out to that final pit stop. For a couple of them, it may come as soon as 6 laps to go. For others, they may wait until 3 laps to go. All really depends on how much they can save here. I do not think that anybody is going to be able to save enough fuel to get to the checkered flag. I just don't see that happening. Maybe someone will prove me wrong, but I just don't see that happening. And I'm a little bit worried there if somebody is going to try to pull off that strategy for the aid of Pierce Crone. He so far has led the most laps here tonight. He's led 30 laps so far. He's been dominant. He's been out in front. You even see he's got a strong enough car. He's been able to hold the 2-car tandem of Colin Cropley and Matthew Rodriguez at bay. But the thing I'd be worried about with that is we saw he had to dive onto pit road early during the first cycle of green flag pit stops. That's because he had no opportunity out in clean air to be able to save fuel. So he is guaranteed to be short on fuel. There is no way that he can stretch it to the end. What if Cropley and Rodriguez are backed off purposely, not drafting up to the back of the 8 trying to save fuel? Could make things very interesting here down the home stretches. We are about to come around in the next lap and a half and hit 20 to go. So now the mental mind games begin. This may be the point where crew chiefs start talking in code to their drivers, so that way those listening in may not know whether they can make it on fuel or not. Mitchell Collins is on the move. I don't know if he can get up there to the race lead, as this group is a little less than 5 seconds back, but Collins is on the move for sure, heading to the front. Just made a move on Andrew Davis, and now he jumps to the inside of Allison Rodriguez. So that is a car that is hooked up on the long run. They might have made a big adjustment on that 17 during that pit stop. Started this race from the 20th position, and now, last time by, up to 6th place. Now looking to crack the top 5. 27 team went to victory lane with Alex Tanker about 3 weeks ago at Michigan. The 17 team is sitting 17th in points, so they're not doing too bad. But certainly you would have to think a lot of focus heading over to that particular group to try and get Joanna Atwood Motorsports their second win on the season with their second car. Whoa! Getting a little physical there is Mitchell Collins, almost moving Alexander Rowe out of the way and move him now up to the 5th spot. That might be the fastest car on the track right now. Allison Rodrigo and Andrew Davis look to do the same. How about Daniel Voiles? 47 is up here all of a sudden. Talked about last week, Jesse Turner. Correction, not Jesse Turner. Stephen Colon having some struggles. And the 47 team dropping down to 9th in point standings. Well, Daniel Voiles doing a good job of remedying that. And Mitchell Collins has moved by Will Goss up to 4th. Now, he's in clean air. I just don't see him being able to catch up to the top 3. Let's watch the intervals. Let's watch the lap times. I'm curious. Let's watch the lap time of the race leader this time by. 28.595. And Collins, 4.63. He's a 10th quicker than the race leader. He just doesn't have enough time to get up there, I don't think, unless he could latch onto the drive to the 19. If you don't watch anything else, watch the top left of your screen in our ticker and watch the gap from the leader back to the from the race leader back to the 17 car, because that could, who knows, that 17 car could have a shot. Let's see if he closes down another 10th this time. That time he lost. So the big runs he was getting was the cars in front of him getting the draft. Now that he's out in clean air, that momentum is stalled out. He does have the gap between himself and Will Goss, so he is maintaining a faster pace than those drivers behind him. But it looks like now all that momentum that we saw has stalled out. But hey, could be the case as well of, look ahead, see who's within striking distance, and set a goal for yourself to get at least up to that spot. And Mitchell Collins has done that. He got up to the front of this second group. Daniel Voiles looking to do the same. All of a sudden, the Fords are looking really good here in the closing stage. As Alison Rodrigo been picking up a couple of spots. We saw Collins with that charge. Voiles up here now as well. No Fords up in the top three, though, as the Chevrolets continue to back off here. Now, the lap times aren't terribly different between Cropley and Crone. That last time by, it was only a 100th difference. An 8.22 to an 8.31. So Cropley has to be purposely backing off here. And Rodriguez doesn't seem like he's any too worried about that strategy either. He seems pretty content to ride behind Cropley, otherwise he'd have made a move by now. So I think these two are trying to save. And maybe Pierce Crone is noticing that and he's trying to back up to them, in which case they're backing up even more. Oh, that last time by, half a second was shaved off by Mitchell Collins. He just ran a 28.656. That's 0.2 quicker than these guys were running. So maybe he had a slip up the lap before, but he is boogieing. And does that mean that Mitchell Collins feels that he is good to make it on fuel? Because remember, Collins stayed out a lap or two longer, as did Will Goss, who's right now in the 5th position. So if we're looking at some guys that could possibly be the ones to make it, look at 4th and 5th place possibly. Well, I don't know. Don't dare make any guesses here, because who knows? And now Rodriguez looks to the inside of Colin Cropley. I don't know if that's maybe to try and get some clean air to the nose finally. He's been riding in the wake of the 0-1 this whole run. Now he'll tuck back in line. Might have had the water temps spiking and trying to cool those down. Might also be just trying to get the car to turn as he run in dirty air, especially off of turn 4. The car's going to get really tight and want to head up towards the wall. That's another thing that has not come into play here tonight. Credit to these drivers. I don't think we've really seen anybody go up and brush the outside wall, a thing that Darlington Raceway is so famed for. A couple of drivers have been close, but I don't think anybody has actually gotten themselves a Darlington stripe. That's pretty remarkable. Talked about the Fords coming up here late. Kat Batson just worked her way by Andrew Davis, her teammate. And she's now into the 7th spot. Benjamin Miles, big needed run here for the 15 team here tonight, as they run currently in the 11th position. Reggie Fogelman right behind, and here comes Pierce Crone. He was 9 laps short. Oh, if the 8 was that many laps short, I don't think anybody can make it, unless he, knowing he absolutely couldn't make it, decides, all right, heck with it, I'm coming down pit road this time. Now, what about these guys? Rodriguez is down. No one can make it. There's no way. There is no way anyone can make it. If guys like that are coming down pit road this soon, everybody's going to be on pit road. So this is the money stop. This is the final stop of the day. And we saw Pierce Crone be able to get the race lead back after pitting from the lead on the first round, getting those fresh tires. I'm a little surprised that nobody else up here inside of the top 3 decided to jump the gun on him. Rodriguez came a lap later, and now Colin Cropley comes a lap later. The only advantage that they could get is maybe take on less fuel, spend less time on pit road that way. Voiles in, Andrew Davis, Alexander Rowe. Jordan Lopez getting his pit stop done. There was Rodriguez again. Adam Garcia's on pit road. Mitchell Collins going to inherit the race lead. That was his first lap lead of the night. And now he's going to come down. Harrison Ponder going to take the race lead. A lot of guys back there that we haven't talked about here this evening. Really been a non-factor. Jordan Lopez, Michael Norman, Alex Tanker. Drivers that we thought for sure we would be discussing this evening. Oh, we've got some problems I'm hearing for the 0-9 of Caleb Fogler. He spent a long time on pit road. And he is still in the race, but albeit 4 laps down as Harrison Ponder comes to pit lane. So tough break there for the 0-9 team. 14th in the points they came into this race. Ponder dives in. Here comes Will Goss behind him. And now it's the question of who does the race lead cycle out to? It's going to be Matthew Rodriguez. Rodriguez by 2 car lengths over Pierce Crone. And Cropley's a long ways back. So the 19 team gets it done on pit lane, and Matthew Rodriguez looks like will cycle around as the race leader when all is said and done, but it looked like on that last run, Pierce Crone's car was faster. Maybe Rodriguez was holding back. We'll see here. As this time by, when things cycle around, we should be, well, I don't know if necessarily for Rodriguez. Yeah, I think next time by for Rodriguez, it will be 4 laps to go. It was Harrison Ponder who started lap 70. Matthew Rodriguez, I think, will complete it. There's Ponder coming off of pit lane. I don't know where he's going to cycle. It will not be inside the top 5 as Collins, Cropley, and Davis go around for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Looks like Ponder will slot into 6th ahead of Voiles. 8th place will be Cat Batson, and then Benjamin Miles and Alexander Rowe look like they'll be the top 10. There's some moves being made here. Nothing going on for the race lead. Davis gets by Cropley, move him up to 4th. Voiles got by Ponder, move him up to 6th. 7th now changes hands. Cat Batson getting around Ponder, so drop him back to 8th. As coming around this time, it's going to be 3 laps to go for Matthew Rodriguez. The 2 teams, 1 win apiece, that are 3 points separated in the overall standings coming into this race, and they find each other here in the closing stages at Darlington. Matthew Rodriguez looking for his 2nd career win since Season 1. Pierce Crone looking for his 1st career win. And both these drivers looking to become the first team to have multiple wins on the season. Both of those teams have a victory, and both of them were with their primary drivers, Matt Haas and Carson Gum. White flag will be displayed this time, and notice the 0-9 of Caleb Fogler just up ahead. Dirty air to the nose of Matthew Rodriguez could affect him here on this final run to the checkers, especially if they catch him in a bad spot. Fogler right now 4 laps down, well actually correction, 2 laps down after everything cycled around. And they are going to catch him here. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go at Darlington. Rodriguez, can he hold off Pierce Crone for 4 more corners? If he can get to the inside of Fogler here on the back straightaway, it's over. Fogler pulls down. Rodriguez will get to the inside, and that's going to block any move that Pierce Crone can make. Maybe not. Rodriguez couldn't make the move. He had to back out of the throttle, but Pierce Crone wasn't able to get to his back bumper. Trying to mount a charge here out of turn 4. Not going to have enough momentum. Matthew Rodriguez is going to win at Darlington. 1st win of the season for Matthew Rodriguez. 2nd win of his career. The winless streak is over. And the 19 team out of Pigeon Racing will be the first multi-time winning team this season, which is going to make a big case for the defending championship car to try and defend its title in this season's playoffs. And it can go all the way back there to that final pit stop and the ability of Matthew Rodriguez's pit crew to get him out ahead of Pierce Crone, put the dirty air to the nose of the 8 car, and keep him at bay for this win. So as much the pit crew as the driver here tonight, getting it done at Darlington. And we have our 5th different winner here in the 5 times that we have come to this historic racetrack. It is also going to mark Chevrolet's 3rd win here and 3rd in a row. Ford and Toyota with 1 win apiece. Standing should be official. We knew that pit road was going to play a factor. It did that. Rodriguez with the victory here tonight. Crone in 2nd. How about Mitchell Collins? I would have loved to have seen Mitchell Collins up in that lead group because I think he had the fastest car of the night, and he'll bring it home in 3rd place. Andrew Davis will get 4th. 5th place for Daniel Voiles. Cat Batson will finish in 6th. Harrison Ponder 7th. Colin Cropley in 8th. 9th will be Benjamin Miles, and Alexander Rose going to complete the top 10. Reggie Fogelman will be 11th. 12th for Will Goss. 13th, Allison Rodrigo. 14th for Jackie Halleck. Michael Norman got up into the top 15 late, getting that final 15th spot. 16th for Adam Garcia. 17th will be Ryan DaCosta, Riley Henry, Jacob Thibodeau, and Carson Grob, who started on the outside of the front row. He dropped all the way back to the 20th position. Roberto Crown Jr. 21st, Alex Tanker in 22nd. 23rd place is where we will find Cole Deaver, as will not be back-to-back seasons that he'll go to victory lane here. Andrew Gonzalez in 24th. 25th for Jordan Lopez. Boy, really struggling night for the 38 team. That team's been good the last couple of weeks, up to 5th in points, but not the performance they were looking for here this evening. Zachary Taylor back in 26th, 1 week after the 95 went to victory lane. James Shelley in 27th. Pole sitter Mike Tellier free fell through the field as he goes from 1st to 28th. Last car on the lead lap. Last car running was Caleb Fogler after a lengthy pit stop. He'll finish 2 laps down in the 29th position. Well, I think it's safe to say that here tonight, just based on the drivers I'm seeing and the cars they're in where they were in the point standings coming into this race, tonight it will be a point shakeup heading to the Daytona Road Course. A lot of positions will be changing hands, and one that will be changing hands will obviously be the points lead once again. The 19, the 8 continue to swap it back, it seems, week after week. 19 team had it 2 weeks ago. 1 week ago it was the 8 team, and now heading into next week, it's more than likely going to be the 19 car back at the top of the point standings. More importantly, they're going to have 2 win stickers next to their statistics, and that's going to help them to possibly secure themselves a playoff position as we are getting ready to end off the first half of the regular season. So congratulations to Matthew Rodriguez. Long winless streak. I don't even have the number of races it's been since he went to victory lane all the way back in season 1, but obviously it certainly was a huge number, and finally he snaps that winless streak here tonight at one of the crown jewel races on the season. Next week, drivers will look to carry the momentum or look for a comeback when we get to the Daytona International Speedway, but the road course configuration. Hope you guys will join us for that one. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in here tonight. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and cover out the crew today. We'll show you full picture results. You'll see your point standings next week, and until then, you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.